Well everyone, welcome back. I've been asked to do a equipment edition of Around the Farm. And so the first thing I'm going to do is show you all the green tractors. This is my personal tractor. It's a 1941 John Deere B. I bought it when I was a senior in high school, and I used it as my senior project. And when I bought it, it had been sitting out in the trees for, I think, 30 some years. And so it was in pretty rough shape. I did a complete restoration on it, an engine rebuild and all that. And unfortunately over the last 4 or 5 years hasn't really been getting used much. And I went to start it up this summer and I didn't have any oil pressure. So somewhere in there I've got some sludge buildup or something that I better take care of before I run it at all anymore. But it's kind of taking the back seat right now because we're getting that building put up. But this is the first green tractor on the list, and definitely the one that means the most to me. This is the farm's main workhorse. Not sure on the year again on this one, but it's a John Deere 4020 with a Hiniker 1300 cap, and I couldn't tell you on the loader. I have no idea what brand it is. It's been welded and cut and re-welded all over the place, and so loader with a grapple on it. This is the farm's main workhorse. It does a lot of our hay work at our alfalfa field, and then it comes and spends the winter here at home, and we use it for snow removal or anything else that needs to be done here. We use it to start when we're cleaning the barn because that grapple is nice for pulling the early stuff out, but then after a little bit she doesn't fit under the barn, so then we switch over to the skid loader. When we get a grapple for the skid loader, I'm sure that'll take care of that. But we added the cap to it last fall. It almost cost me a finger, but it's been a really good addition. It gets a little warm when you're out there baling hay in the summer, but it's also nice to have that shade so a guy don't get so sunburnt. And it's really nice in the winter. It keeps the snow off the seat when you got to get out in the morning to move snow. You don't have to scrape ice off the seat. And we're having some problems getting the heat figured out, but once we get the heater figured out, that'll be real nice in the winter too. And it's just nice to keep the wind off of a guy's face, especially when it gets real cold here in South Dakota. We seem to have a lot of blizzards, so. We also use this tractor for moving round bales because of the grapple. And like I said, once we get a grapple on the skid steer, we may make a bale spear for the skid steer. I'm not sure on that yet, but the final green tractor is my brother's 3010. He uses this for his custom baling operation. It does everything from running the disc mower to running the baler. He had this one all repainted as a 4-H project a few years ago, and you can see it's kind of been used and abused since then, but she's been a really good running tractor and it's been used a lot. He has a loader that he puts on it. Had it off for haying season. He'll probably put it back on this winter. In fact, I think we'll need to put it back on to get the building put up. I've been trying to talk him into getting a chrome stack for it for a long time, but we'll see if he actually goes through with it or not. But fun little tractor to drive. It's very nimble. Gets you in and out of tight spaces. It's the only tractor I could get this grain cart in the right spot with, because Dad put the bins too far up the hill. So we'll probably have to take some fence out there so we got enough room to get in here. But this is the first red tractor on the list. This is actually my grandpa's first ever tractor. It's I don't know what year it is, but it's a Super MTA. And my dad's dad, my grandpa, passed away when my dad was only 14, and so it's really special for us to have this tractor. And this is the second time it's been repainted since we had it. We did it a number of years ago, and this was our main tractor for a long time. And so you know, it got repainted, and then we used it a bunch, and so the paint had kind of been worn off of it. And so my little brother stripped it all down and redid it all, did some engine tests and stuff like that on it, and used it as a 4-H project this year. So the old girl's still running strong, and we had to do a little bit of work to it. We had to redo the TA. The TA had gone out on it, but she looks nice. Needs to be cleaned up and clear coated still, but got the 3-point hitch all done up on it. like I said, this is just a real special tractor to our family. It was sitting in the front yard one time before we painted it the first time, I believe, and didn't look like much. It was pretty beat up, pretty messy, didn't have any good paint or anything on it. And some guy stopped in the yard and offered us a ridiculous amount of money for it, and Dad said there's no way in the world he'd ever get rid of this tractor. It's one of two 706s. Both bought at the same auction. This one is in a little bit better shape, but it came with a narrow front on it, so we took the wide front off of our 460 and put it on here, and put the narrow front back on that before we sold it. This is just kind of the chore tractor, I guess. We use it for a lot of mixing feed and running the auger and baling hay and pretty much everything we got to do around here, since the 4020 spends most of its time over at the alfalfa field and it's too far away to be driving it back and forth all the time. She'll probably need an engine rebuild here in not too long, just like the other one. That's where the other one's at. It's all torn apart in the shop right now. But it's a good little tractor. I'm not so fond of how they have the shifter set up. It seems to want to pop out of gear all the time, and it's hard to get it into gear, and just don't like it compared to the power shift and the synchro range that you get on the John Deeres. But it gets the job done, and it's got its things that I like about it. So the TA is real nice. Here's the final red tractor, and it looks about like most red tractors do. It's all torn apart here, and the motor's pulled out of it, and the motor's at the machine shop, and got all the parts laying on the bench over there. This was another one of them bought at that auction sale, and wasn't quite as wonderful as it was supposed to be. So once we get the motor rebuilt on it, it should be in pretty good shape, and I'm thinking it's probably going to get a coat of paint next year, and it'll probably be a pretty decent tractor, but it's just been a lot of work to get it there. But thanks for watching. Check back for more. Make sure you like and share and subscribe, and the next update that I'll do will be an equipment update.